They're serializing.
Welcome back to Scryer's Room. This is your host, Famfare. We're here sitting here with Kevin, and we have a guest today, Rob, the lovely, coveted Rob. So, you were saying?
Oh, yeah. I was messaging Mario about how Sanderson is serializing. Sanderson is working with some magazine to serialize the first few chapters, probably the first part.
Right.
Like 3 chapters at a time, weekly, of his upcoming book, and so I was really excited about that. And
he's serializing it.
Yeah, like, I think he did it with the last book, too. I remember early release chapters coming out. I don't remember being a mag. I don't know exactly how they work, but I'm pretty sure this happened last time as well. So, like, weekly, you'll be able to read the first 3 chapters, then 4 through 6, and so on. And I think it was the whole first part of the book, and out of, like, 5 or 6 parts, but don't quote me on that. That's just...
Right.
Misremembering a thing that I read a year and a half ago at this point.
Okay.
That's like a move from like the 60s. Like when Playboy used to have science fiction
like Dickens.
Yeah.
I need to write out my story and make it extra verbose so I get paid by the word.
Yeah. What a weird move. Yeah. Like, I would think that like, the future of like, if we're going to serialize, would be like releasing something online. But I guess even that's like an old-fashioned style idea now. Like... People don't blog anymore like they used to.
I remember the first time I heard the word blog, and specifically vlog, my lip curled. Like my sister's dog Keiko is a German Shepherd. She's an Americanized German Shepherd, but she's still a working breed.
That means she eats cheeseburgers.
Exactly. So she was born and raised on Hawaii, an island that does not have squirrels.
Right.
But yet when they said the word squirrel, she knew she had to kill that thing.
Ancestral hatred.
She activated like a Soviet sleeper agent.
And I heard the word blog when I was in middle school, and I was like, I hate them.
Yeah.
Gross.
Who would want to read something that someone like that wrote? I remember thinking that new media. This will never catch on. I remember thinking when I was like 12 or 10 or some stupid shit like that.
And yet here we are.
Yeah.
I mean, well,
young people don't know what movies is.
to be real, how many blogs were famous?
Yeah, I've never heard of a famous blog.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess I've only heard of...
Okay,
I've never even heard of...
So I only know the ones that are, like, targeted at my age group at the time, so, like, the dumb teenage ones.
Right.
Like, does anyone else remember Maddox? Remember that?
No.
No, it was, like... That was, like, a thing, or, like... There was a few guys like that were... I guess if it was today, they'd call them Manosphere. I think that's what they call that now. But they weren't... Things were
dudes.
Yeah, but it wasn't. I don't know. Okay, I have to go back up. If it was political in any way, I was too young to notice.
Fair enough.
I remember there was like that guy, and I remember like someone I knew when I was like 17 or 18 bought like a book from some guy who was like an internet guy who was. And I can't come up with his name anymore.
I'm drawing blanks, man. I got nothing.
But I guess the nearest closest thing I could say that compares is like a XKCD, like a web comic. But that's not the same thing.
No, that's like that's a thing that I feel like I could respect. I mean, most of them are garbage. In fact, even the good ones, pretty garbage.
Do you guys remember You're the Man Now, Dog?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. You're the Man Now, Dog.
Little videos.
God bless, bro. E-Bombs World, Albino Black Sheep.
Oh my God.
Liquid Generation. Oh, man. And obviously Newgrounds. Newgrounds is like... Newgrounds came back for a second, like...
Newgrounds is back regular now.
Yeah.
They're like involved with Adult Swim and stuff.
Oh, good.
Well, there isn't like
That's why Smiling Friends exists.
Fuck yeah,
Yeah,
bro.
there isn't like there's not a place for that kind of thing anymore. Like, this is my Newgrounds thing. It's like a shitty game that I made with penis jokes. Like there isn't that. There isn't space for that anymore.
No, you upload that to the Google Play Store with like 40 seconds of ads for every 60 seconds of content that your like players are able to do, so that you can eke out a meager existence in the coding mines.
Mm-hmm. And you probably live in Indonesia or something.
Almost certainly.
Oh yeah, absolutely, bro.
If not beforehand, you had to move there for the cheap rent.
Any of them. Yeah. Any of them.
All right, I want to take this time to discuss the D&D campaign we're playing with Brody.
Oh yeah.
Because the last time we were on the podcast, we ended with me discussing my character Prince Langley and his spectacular death at the hands of the Baylord.
Yeah.
And I wanted to go into the character Yanis, Warrior Princess. But before then, Rob, would you do me the pleasure of explaining Frogbert?
Sure. Frogbert is just me. I like to think that I've come full circle to get here, but I'm pretty sure that that's just an excuse I tell myself. I put so little thought into D&D characters these days beyond, like, I have 5th edition. We've been playing 5th edition for a long time now.
Yeah.
And, like, we've all, like, done all the haha, very funny. We've all seen all the jokes, all that shit.
Yeah.
We know what, like, the good builds are, the bad builds. We know a decent amount of what's upcoming, stuff like that. And so, like, my most recent character, let me back up a little bit. So for Brody's game, Brody has DM'd a lot of our games and a lot of different systems for us.
Yeah.
And again, I like to think he's come full circle on this. I'm sure he's put more thought into it than I have put into my characters. But he made some changes to the game. They're just his custom changes that, like, we hadn't tried this before. We've always complained about, I don't like this, I don't like that. And we've been playing, like, the Warhammer stuff especially. That just pissed us off a whole hell of a lot.
Oh, yeah. Just sloppy fucking
They
books.
barely designed a playable game.
And I'm willing to grant maybe we did it wrong. Like, we're not perfect, but multiple of those Warhammer games, like the Fantasy Flight Warhammer games, just didn't do it for us. Anyway, 5th edition, Brody made some changes. He made some changes that buff spellcasters. I know spellcasters are considered to be very strong by most people already, but he also buffed the martial classes a lot more, I'd say. In general, he just made some changes. Like, he changed concentration to allow you to concentrate on more things at once. Not like a million things at once, but a little bit more things at once.
I think it's you just can concentrate on spell levels equal to your level or your proficiency. Was it?
I think it's your
twice your wizard level.
Yeah, twice your wizard level, but everything that you're adding to it, like, increases the difficulty of each concentration.
And so if you're listening and you know anything about 5th edition, that's that's busted. I want to get into that.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to go into his whole thing because he wrote like a whole. It's a lot, but I wanted to play wizard, and that's about as far as I got as far as making a character. So, and I'd also just played Baldur's Gate 3, and I remember thinking during Baldur's Gate 3, gee, Githyanki is a really strong race. Look at all this cool stuff Githyanki gets. And so I just made Frogbert, who is just me, but a wizard and Githyanki, and that's it. He has all the traits of me. There's no role-playing involved whatsoever. I just kind of say whatever's on my mind all the time.
And it counts because he's from space. Of course we don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, also, a key thing I just recalled. So right before we started this campaign, we were playing Lancer, which was giant robots and stuff. And we cut that one off to start playing this because Brody wanted to play 5th edition again because he also was playing Baldur's Gate 3.
That's how it goes.
And then he was like, how would you guys feel about abandoning the robot game for a little while?
I think part of that decision, too, was drive that we really enjoyed Lancer, and we wanted to end it while we still enjoyed it, because we were getting to start to, like, get bored with it, so we don't want to leave with a bad taste in our mouths.
Get off your water there, homeboy.
Yeah, 1 second.
Yeah, when you're done.
Thirsty boys. I can get you a cup in a minute here.
Yeah, sure, please.
Yeah, I'll bring one down in a second.
Get hot.
Oh, yeah, so I'm going to go get you water, and you can do me the pleasure of explaining why dragons are a dumb fucking creature.
I don't know. I just like.
I don't know where he's going with this, so I'd like to hear that.
Well, there's like a couple of like avenues for approach. Like, I just don't think that it's mechanically that interesting to fight. It's been the same. It's like I don't know. D&D is like a weird thing. Like, Hasbro is maybe not the best steward of it, though. Of course, I'm sure it could be so much worse than it is right now.
Oh yeah.
And there's definitely...
Imagine Blizzard.
Or like Tencent or...
Oh.
My immediate thought
Temu?
Yeah, Temu. Oh my god. When Temu gets into like media like that, we're so out of luck.
It's over. We're cooked.
Yeah. But like dragons have basically been the same enemy.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I've
since the 80s. Yeah.
It does like, you know, it flaps its wings, it knocks you down, it breathes its cone, like.
Yeah.
And I guess I don't know like exactly the rules within like the dragon we fought, like we were in our lab a few games ago, or in Brody's game, we had the dragon. It didn't have any spells. Like, it has no spell or spell like abilities. It just has like, you know, it just like it's a big lizard. I thought dragons were magic.
I think that like in current current lore things, like they don't like become like full wizards, like able to actually like cast spells and stuff until like they're ancient dragons. Or
yeah, they're really. I feel like if you lived like a million billion years,
you'd have to. Yeah.
Yeah. How could you not become magic? But like, I guess that ties into like mechanically, I don't find it interesting anymore. Like, I understand that Paizo has changed. Like, as now that they're in the wake of all of the Hasbro hate in the last year or so, Paizo has, in their most recent edition, fully been like, fuck it, and abandoned a lot of the trappings of old D&D and reworked Dragon, I think, in particular, into like a new kind of monster. I need to look into that to back up my rambling here, because I had heard someone say it's cool, but I haven't looked into it further than that.
I'd like to see it, yeah.
But I guess, like...
Because frankly, I don't know how they would reinvent them.
Yeah.
Big angry lizard.
Yeah. It's... You see it in fiction a fair... Like, obviously we're people, right? So, like, in our fiction, like, we're gonna be number one. I just don't... If there was a big lizard like that, we'd have killed it already.
If there were a race of dinosaurs who were also wizards who lived for thousands of years regular...
It wouldn't have taken us much longer than spears to get rid of all of those.
Right.
Like
we would have thrown wave after wave
priority.
of cavemen.
Yeah, that's a high priority thing to take that out.
Yeah.
And I just don't jive with that. Like a big arrogant dickhead thing. I don't know. I guess that also kind of ties into elves, but elves like play the harp or something. You know. Like,
yeah.
Make a pretty wood craft.
I mean, it's conceptually it would like bump with like
Freezy Pops.
Ooh.
Pick one. We got coconut, we got raspberry lime, and we got dragon fruit.
Raspberry lime, please.
Peach.
Give me that coconut.
Coconut. Boom. Peach for me. Excuse me.
I don't know if there is like huge peach boom this year or something, but like everything has been fucking peach flavored. There's a peach flavored Pepsi. There's a or a Coke. There's a peach flavored drink at like Sonic. There's just so many peach things that are just invading.
Yeah.
I know.
Otherwise, relatively peach-free existence.
Has peach tea or some shit right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, anytime you see certain deals at like fast food restaurants, it's because such and such thing is cheap right now.
Yeah, like when Baconalia, like many years ago, in the far-off years of the early memes of 2008, the distant past. There was Baconalia, and bacon wasn't everything, and I'm sure
I hated that.
All you Zoomers know, and all you regular people also know how fucking annoying that kind of personality exists as on the internet. But bacon and everything was a thing just literally because...
That bacon ice cream, I hated that.
Yeah, and they had it literally just because, like, oops, too many pigs this year. The pork belly industry produced too much, so we're baconing it and acting like it's a organic cultural response.
Same thing. I mean, that's like everything, right?
Yeah.
Remember when Domino's changed their recipe and they had the big thing about our pizza used to be disgusting and now it's not. That's because like cheese subsidies changed or something. Mm-hmm. The government was like, everyone knows the government has all the cheese, right?
Yeah.
And the government was like, oh, we need to shift some of this cheese. And so I think it was, I don't know, like Obama era. Who manages the cheese? Do you know that?
Wisconsin?
No. What government agency manages the cheese?
I don't know.
Well, I would think it'd be...
Agriculture, I think.
Yeah, agriculture. I feel like there's specifically like a dairy arm of it because they're the ones who paid for like the Got Milk campaign.
I've heard about the Wisconsin cheesecakes. Apparently, we
have cheese everywhere,
Yeah, we make so much cheese that we're not actually using that Kraft singles exist as basically a liquid puree of the cheese that we're not using so it doesn't go bad.
And that's like a back in the day. We're a little too young for government cheese.
Yeah.
But that's like, I've heard people older than us talk about, like that used to be like, you'd get like the part of food assistance because we had so much cheese was, okay, you want food assistance, here you go. And just
they would give you cheese and peanut butter.
Yeah.
Like a brick of cheese on your doorstep.
Yeah, if you Google government cheese, I'm sure it'll come up.
And a big foil thing like Velveeta comes in.
That's like that's a back in the day. That's too old even for us.
We're pulling it up, boys.
Yeah,
government cheese.
See, there he is.
Oh my God, the brick.
That's his. Yeah, the brick. Yeah, that's his era. That's what was happening. Yeah. Oh, hello.
So yeah, he'll do that. Amadeus is very curious. He likes licking feet. He's a little toe sucker.
Yeah, he also sometimes gets frustrated with where my feet in particular are placed, and he will bite my shoes and physically move my feet.
Yeah, he'll grab you.
He'll grab you.
It feels like a bite, but it's not a bite. He just doesn't have actual hands.
He's got hands. Yeah.
And then also, don't touch his stuff. You really aren't allowed to touch his stuff. He gets really fucking mad.
Yeah.
Lyle Hut's popping up when he's babysitting. Don't touch my stuff. He has a knife.
See how aggro he gets?
He heard.
Yeah, he heard.
Don't even intimate that you're going to touch his stuff.
Forgive me, Amadeus. I'm so sorry.
He has a demon in him, bro. Just like his father.
Oh, yeah. Government cheese, the Connect Back thing I was talking about, like, Domino's changing the recipe was just the result of, I guess, I want to say it was under Obama. That's when this happened, I think. Mm-hmm. And they'd, like, cheese subsidies changed or something. Like, it just, like, the amount of cheese that was available to them or the price at which it was available.
For basically free, yeah.
I'm going to interrupt for a second. Audience, I understand you can hear the crackling of the freeze pops and that it's amateur to eat food during a podcast. We are literally three fat... I'm a reformed fat man talking to two unapologetically fat men.
Yeah, I make no
So,
apology.
yeah, you're just going to have to sit with it, my man. Thank you for supporting and listening, but that's just going to keep happening, unfortunately.
I'm almost done. I'll eat it fast.
However, if you complain online, I will be more conscientious of it. But you have to actually leave a comment for that to boost our engagement.
Exactly. If you engage with me to tell me to stop doing that, I will be more than happy to stop doing that. But,
this is the price you pay, America, for making us reach for engagement.
Yeah. You want me to talk to you? I'm talking to you right now. Call me a fat fuck and to stop eating on the podcast. I'll be more than happy to oblige. But until then, we are three fat men going to eat food. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
You're,
speaking of food, like
exactly. That's why I brought it up. We're really talking about food.
Yeah. Like I suspect that almost everything that's ever happened ever in our lives has a that answer behind it. Where like the reason that the McRib showed up is because the price of pork went down like 3%. Like that. Like everything that's ever happened is the result of like, the price of X went down 4% that year. Like that.
I mean, one of my pet theories that's like this is the reason that we had a second like 3D movie boom. Because like we had a 3D movie boom in like the 90s that didn't go anywhere because it's not a very good idea.
Right.
But like I feel like I read it, but like I could just be talking out of my ass, so whatever. That like the guy who invented like the 3D like movie technology was just like a horrible like monster to work with. Like he was very like difficult, and then he died. So they were like, we're doing 3D movies again because we don't have to fucking deal with that guy anymore.
I'd buy it, man. Like, one thing that Brody told me when he first started like working on IT and stuff, and I was a communication major, so it's like, a lot of people don't respect my field of study, which is fine. I get that. But one thing he did say to me that really, like, gave me, like, a warm and fuzzy feeling is that I would much rather work with an idiot that can communicate than a genius I can't talk to.
Oh, yeah.
In any group endeavor, communication is key, man. It doesn't matter how smart you are if no one wants to fucking deal with your ideas. And furthermore, if you're such a smarmy little bastard that the second you tell me something, it doesn't matter how right you are, if I hate your guts, I'm going to be contrarian just because fuck you. That's one of, like, the most, like, primal dude things I've ever heard. What? It's shitty, and I try not to do it, but, like, it happens all the time.
What is the name of the guy? I'm sorry, this is related.
Uh-huh.
The guy, he wrote War of the Worlds.
If you will.
H.G. Wells, and there's a radio guy.
The guy, Orson Welles.
Orson Welles.
That's the fake broadcast guy.
Yes. The reason I bring up both of them is, one, they're both pretty similar people to this whole like horribly difficult to work with thing. But specifically, I feel like I think it was a thing I read. Orson Welles like they wanted him to make movies.
Uh-huh.
He didn't want to make movies. So he basically like sent them a contract saying like, okay, well, if you want me to make movies, you need to pay me like a huge ridiculous sum, and I need to have complete total control, and I get to hire the cameraman, and I'm the director and the writer and everything. It was so outrageous, he was like, that ought to shut him up. And then
bold strategy.
And then they just gave it to him, and he was like, "Fuck!"
Yeah.
Like,
that's how the Fleischer Supermans got made.
Yeah.
It's the same situation. They're like, I don't want to make this, and then they're like, okay, just ask them for like 10 times the amount, and they'll go away. And the people they're like, oh sure, here's 10 times the amount. Now make the cartoons anyway.
Fuck. But so he was talking to like when he actually like got started, the cameraman who he was working with basically like took him aside and was like, okay, listen, everybody who you're going to talk to about like making movies and stuff, they're very up their own ass in a lot of ways. Everything you need to know about making a movie, we can teach you in like a day and a half. After that, it's like it's up to taste and like what we're willing to like edit down.
Yeah.
And he like he basically like publicly like said like that's not only true of like camera work, that's true of everything that this man's been a part. And he lived like quite a life. He like did a bunch of jobs he wore many hats. He's like, that's basically the truth of everything. You can pretty much learn how to do a job, most jobs that aren't things like, brain surgery. You can learn how to do them in like a day. So long as like, you're not a horribly unpleasant man to work with.
And you have someone to teach you.
Yeah. It's more worth it to hire a guy who can be taught and isn't completely miserable to be around than to hire a guy who's even knows what he's doing but is just horrible to work with.
Yeah, if you're like above average intelligence, which like 50% of people are,
right,
you can really get away with most things so long as someone is willing to talk to you and teach you. Like, the biggest thing that separates wheat from chaff is just access to resources, and like skilled knowledge is a resource.
Oh yeah.
It's coveted like really fucking hard too. Yeah, man, it's fucking
So
crazy.
we got off track considerably.
Oh yeah, dragons.
Dragons.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
so
it's like I was saying when you were gone. Like, I just don't think they're very interesting to fight. Like, you could. It's been the same since the 80s. You could play Baldur's Gate 2 and from 2001, 1999.
Yeah, the strategy is exactly the same.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same monster. It's the same thing. And like I was saying to Kevin while you were gone, also like.
Baldur's Gate 2 came out more than like 30 years ago.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh my
90s,
god.
right?
Yeah, late 90s, early 2000s. I think 2 might have came out in 2001.
Okay, so
yeah, I get
well, that
2000,
20 years feels better than 30 years at least. That's good.
25.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, he's ambushing you, huh?
Amadeus having a taste of Rob's feet right now.
Yeah. But Rob had the bold decision to leave his house without any shoes. He's an absolute madman, and I love him.
Yep.
I couldn't find him, and it was time to go.
Barefoot Boy crew.
Had a podcast to be on.
Yes, sir. I appreciate the commitment. He's a good bunny boy.
What a delightful crater.
I was making myself laugh really hard last night thinking about, like, what if, like, Tony and I practiced beforehand and we're like, okay, so when Rob, like, actually sits down and everything, we're going to act like we're very professional and, like, we have a very directed thing where it's like, so recently I've been thinking about, like...
Read the notes!
I've been thinking about, like, the cultural implications of this thing that just happened. And, Rob, we were very interested to hear your response. Go ahead and tell us about that.
AFL-CIO.
Yeah,
Interest rates are up 0.5% this week. Let's talk about the effect that might have on lending. What the fuck?
Yeah.
None of us know about that.
No. You didn't read the notes? We sent it to you on Discord.
No, one of the keywords I've been posting every podcast has been degenerate. So
Yeah, we're
we're kind of locked
That's
in
really
at
funny.
this point.
this is more of a sitting in the basement talking about shit.
Yeah.
What I was saying was, like, if there were dragons, if there were, like, a long-lived thing, like magical, flying, predatory lizards...
Magic in its blood.
Yeah.
we,
Cavemen would have eaten that shit. We killed that with rocks.
Yeah, it wouldn't have taken us much longer than rocks and spears to get rid of those.
The
Lay 'em low.
first 1,000 years of human history, we would have made no advances beyond rock and spear because every generation, all but like 2 kids were going to go kill dragons until there were no more of those, and then we could be people. We could have societies and...
I remember reading a thing recently that humans are probably responsible for the deaths of all megafauna.
Yeah,
Like,
sure.
not a single
And
one of
they're
them
not-
went extinct naturally.
I
It's
buy
not
it.
like they're not like making art. Like, I'm sure that if you look across all of like the D&D stuff and all of the whatever, there's like, oh, I guess I'm the library dragon and this is my library and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm sure that definitely is like a thing that exists. But for the most part, what you're talking about is a thing that exists to be killed. It's like, for real.
A dragon to be slain.
Well, what does it do? Oh, well, it eats virgins. Okay, what else? Well, it sits on top of a pile of gold. Yeah, does it eat the gold? No, it just likes the gold. Why does it have the gold? Well, the real answer is because when you kill something that's hard to kill, you should get gold at the end.
Yeah.
That's not a reason why.
That's
Ben is your reward.
Total honesty, completely, like, the charade's over, curtains down, It's so that we can justify giving you a magical fucking, like, a knife that lets you walk on water.
I'm going to go ahead and take a flying leap without looking this up. But because there's gold involved, I bet if you go back enough 100 years, the dragons are Jews or something like that.
Oh, almost certainly.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I bet it's racist to somebody. I don't know who, but it is.
There's so many different, like, monsters that, like... If you just look slightly too, like, not even that far away, like if you look at the concepts of, like, the vampires, and you go to, like, okay, well, you know, fucking Dracula came out in, like, 1890. If you go to 1888, and it was, like, and these
in like southeastern Europe.
No way.
I bet southeastern Europe in the 19th century is like a paragon of modern morality. They loved everything, especially people who look different from them.
People who look and think differently from them.
The original guy is like a 13th century figure, right? Like Vlad Dracula is like this guy's like a 1,000-year-old guy.
Yeah. I'm sure he's pretty cool.
I remember reading a thing. About the origin.
Yeah.
I remember reading a thing about the origin of dwarves and like where the mythos comes from. And basically, like, this one guy had a theory that they're based off of like Saracen traders because they wore rat heads. They always had beards. So basically, like, the Middle Eastern boys coming from across the mountains to go to Scandinavia,
being tiny and bearded
because they're not giant Vikingish dudes.
Yeah.
So relatively, they're fucking dwarves, aren't they?
Yeah.
I'd buy that.
Yeah, I'd buy that.
My favorite little tidbit of, like, the origin of, like, little, like, creatures in fantasy is kobolds, because kobold is just the German word for goblin, and that's it.
Yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons decided they were different things, not anybody else.
So there is no clearer sign of Big Tony than the evolution of kobolds within media.
Oh my god.
They went from being like scaly alligator monster snapdragon men's, and now all of a sudden cubalds happened because of the TG unified setting.
Oh yeah, 4chan nerds have like a very especially in the past when 4chan...
in the before time.
Yeah. I mean, it was never good.
Get their shit together more.
In fact, it was actually, in some ways, worse.
It was more lawless.
But we're not going to talk about that right now. That's not what this episode's about.
Yeah. But yeah, no, Q-balds within the TG Unified setting basically started like the Coomer aesthetic when it came to call-balds. And then, like, honestly, I didn't notice it go critical mass until I watched Arcadum do the campaign Death and Debts, and that had the V-Shoujo VTubers, I think. It had Silverveil, it had a lot of like the other ones, but specifically Momo's character, Veiri, was a Q-bald, and I'm pretty sure she commissioned artwork from a fucking porn artist named Sork. I'm almost certain I've seen that artwork before.
That's how I'd do it.
Yeah, right? So they just had like this thick Q-bald, and I'm like, okay, so we're looting kobolds now? Huh. And then, like...
And then, we were.
Yeah,
and we did.
And they've been full swing. It went under my radar. And, I'm on board. I'm on board with short stock kobolds. Let's do it, boy. Don't look at me like that, Rob. Don't look at me like that.
So a manga that I'd been on for a little while, I'm very glad that it has an anime now. Dungeon Meshi, Delicious in Dungeon, if you need to use the gross English correct name. That anime has also gotten very popular. And I like what it does with a lot of its races. Like kobolds in that one are dog people because in Japan, ever since ever since like Dungeons and Dragons got started, Japan had their own like art for Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes.
Yeah.
They have their own character art books in the books and everything. All the monster art is like their own, and I don't know if it's because of like a mistranslation or just whatever. But they've been dogs over there. They're little dog men.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Huh.
And
that's kind of cute, I guess.
That's I really like it. At the very least for Dungeon Meshi, I love the way that they handle all the different races.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I always enjoy when people try to put a spin on things. I think sometimes people go too far and it's like a bastardization.
Right.
I can't think of any good examples at the top of my head. But one
I can.
Oh yeah?
Do you remember the Goblins Web Comic?
No.
Goblins Web Comic. Go on.
Oh, you guys.
No, we don't know what this is.
I don't know this at all.
I don't know what this is.
imagine the butt ugliest art that's done so competently that it sort of tricks you into thinking it's not ugly.
Like
for
the
a moment.
Uncanny Valley?
Yeah, it's real.
Okay,
It's,
well, wait, so hold on, because like plotting this on a chart would require at least 3 dimensions, if not more. Like, are we talking like ugly like Ken Pender's art is ugly, or ugly like Rob Liefeld art is like
ugly like
weird?
this.
Yeah, that's pretty ugly.
Go ahead and take a look at that,
Wait,
Tony.
what am I? No.
This is the Goblins Web Comic.
I hate it.
Yeah, me too.
Never
Me
heard
too.
that. I don't like it.
These are the Goblins.
They're not good. What's wrong with their ears?
They're more like I call those like gremlins.
Yeah. That's
Gromlins or
a
something.
gromlin, a goober, a booger?
The bad web comics.
I don't like it. I don't like how it looks. I don't like how it looks at me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want it. No,
Yeah.
sir. I don't like it.
Yeah.
It is,
These little guys.
At the time that I was actually like aware
Me and
of,
my friends would kill the goblins with a hammer.
Oh yeah, instantly.
at the time that this was like posted online, the big meme was just posting like an ugly goblin-y face crying, being like, "I'm sad," and that because that's the series. That's what it is.
Okay.
Because the premise of the series is goblins bad. The human races there are people who are actually playing Dungeons and Dragons, and like their characters are like the human characters in this comic, and then they kill the goblins, but the goblins are like the main characters. They're just living in this world where like players are killing them and shit. And that's the conceit of the webcomic. And in concept, it doesn't sound bad. It looks horrible, and it's not very good, but it is very much a, like, oh, I wanted to put my own spin on things, and let me tell you, it's fun.
Swing and a miss. Swing and a miss.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't
No.
like it
I've
at all.
never heard of that. How long has that been going on?
Oh, years. This
It looks like it's been around.
this has been going on since at least, like, 2010.
Oh, man. And see, the thing is, at 2010, you can't really afford to have your art look like that. Like, that's like, you can do that in the 80s.
I know, it looks like it came out of, like, an 80s thing.
It looks
Yeah, like an 80s cereal.
It looks like it came, like, from, like, one of the heavy metal comics.
Yeah.
Where, like, because, you know, those were, like, compilations of, like, a bunch of different artists and stuff.
More acid than ink.
Yeah, and... Oh, no. It's still going.
Oh, man.
Alright, call it up. What's today's comic strip? Call it up.
So, launch date, June 2005.
Oh,
Okay,
my
yeah,
God.
That seems more correct for that art style you were showing me.
Yeah, I can see that.
Call up today's comic, Kevin. Let's see what we got.
All right, oh my goodness. Today's comic has an orange goblin, a green goblin, a big guy with a crutch, some kind of blob thing that's eating a fish. Oh my goodness. I'm going to post this in the Discord real fast so that the other people can take a look at it. And I suppose we should like put it in the...
Yeah, I'll post something later, man.
Yeah.
It's fine. Yeah. But no, I don't enjoy... I think it's interesting how Ken Penders ever got popular. I'm really not a fan of his fucking work, man. I don't...
No, it's hideous.
I see... It's like in the uncanny valley of like Days of Our Lives, like hyper-realistic people, but then it's like they're Sonic characters.
He has... I don't know how else to describe it besides being like... He has a black belt of being a deviant art artist.
Yeah,
Because the good people on DeviantArt aren't DeviantArt artists. They just
graduate.
have a DeviantArt.
see, that's where I'm not the guy for this, because I'm sure there's people you could dig up and bust out who would come on here and be like, tell you exactly like, okay, the year is 1996. Penders is hired by Archie Comics. Like,
Oh, yeah.
like there's people who know that stuff, and that's
The
not me.
timeline.
We only know like a little bit about this. I just know that like this. I'm like misremembering an internet post I saw a long time ago. I'm sure, but something like I think basically Archie and Sega just didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like just like, oh, there's a guy doing comics for us. Yeah, that sure is a thing. Let's let him do his comics. And then like eventually someone looked at it and was like, oh my god.
I remember, so when I was young, I had a friend named Jonathan. Jonathan really liked Sonic, and he had a bunch of the comics. And because I don't want to dox him, we're not going to give any other information about him. But he had, like, a run that, like, now future me knows was Ken Penders that I was so confused about because the key conceit of the series, Knuckles has absorbed the energy of the Master Emerald. This has turned him green.
Green Knuckles.
Yes.
Gruckles.
So Gruckles here is he has to stay on the, like, Sky Island where all the other echidnas live.
Sure.
And we get to meet a bunch of the other echidnas, including a bunch of old ones. Mm-hmm. Now, what confused me about this greatly is a real important part of Knuckles is the lack of other echidnas. He's the only one guarding the Master Emerald.
Because the rest of them are dead.
Yeah, that's why he's always getting having a hard time with this Sonic the Hedgehog guy coming and fucking around with his emeralds.
Welcome to the dark side.
Yep.
That's Ken Penders.
That's Penders. That's the Pendog.
Look at the 3 grunkled faces.
I don't even know how to describe that. Like,
Is that one black? He
have,
is, right?
I don't have
like
African
African-American.
I don't have the art training required to say why I hate that. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Like, see, this Chaos Knuckles isn't Ken Penders, and that actually is kind of cool.
He looks
and then
fine.
this one,
that looks like a Martian.
It's like he has like angular, jagged eyebrows.
Yeah.
Like a frog.
Yeah, it's frog eyes. Yeah.
He's got Super Saiyan 3 eyes a little bit.
And then this guy literally has like the most grunkled face I've ever seen in my life. In fact,
He looks a lot like
Oh man, like how small that bar is.
Oh, I can't find him. Whatever. Anyway, yeah, we're having a podcast. You can't be looking at the graphics. You can't be looking at graphics. Sorry, people.
Anyway, I remember being very confused by it because, like, the key conceit, Knuckles be the last of his people. That's why he like is always having this trouble, and he absorbed the energy of the Master Emerald. Whatever. And but we're meeting all of the other, like, echidnas, and I was reading this because Jonathan knew Knuckles is my favorite character. Idris Elba voicing Knuckles, huge fan. Just punchy red boy. That's all I needed.
Sure.
Love him. Well, I started reading this, and Knuckles was only in 2 pages of, like, 3 comics.
Wait, what?
Yeah, he, like, walked in and was like, hello there. Like,
Yeah, no, because Penders doesn't want to write.
He didn't want to write about Knuckles.
He wants to write his original thing.
Yeah.
And that
So
was that's why he sued, because he's like, well, no, these are my characters. And so I think how it ended up is like, okay, fine.
You can have them.
We'll keep, Sonic and Knuckles, and you can have...
You can have Laura Sue and whatnot.
Thank you.
Oh, Laura Sue, that's what it was called.
Yeah.
You can have Laura Sue, yeah.
The Laura Sue Chronicles.
Yeah.
I think he was really hoping for a bigger fight about, like, you mean you guys don't want my characters? And they're like, no.
No,
You're fired because of them. If you, in case the communication broke down here, let's be clear.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, bro.
And now he's doing his own things with all the same characters.
Yeah, look at that.
And they look like that, and it's not very...
Okay, so they look worse than that.
Yeah, they do!
Yeah.
They do!
Yeah, because he's only, like, leaned in further to his
That
stylization.
seems to happen to artists. Like, have you seen any of the Fairly Odd Parents guys' drawings?
Oh my god, he unlearned how to draw.
Yeah, he unlearned how to draw.
All right, we're pulling that up.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to keep bringing
What's
up
his
visual
Butch
stuff.
Hartmen?
Butch
I don't know
Hartmen.
what the hell I'm doing.
Yeah.
Chat, I will make sure to make this a video on YouTube that has all the graphics and whatnot, but I just have to know.
Yeah.
I didn't know that's what he fucking looked like.
Yeah.
Okay.
He looks nondescript.
All right, let's see what his new stuff.
Look at his little the fourth drawing on the fourth
Oh
drawing
my
from
God.
like that's how he draws himself now. Like it used to be the thing.
It
on
used to be the
left,
second one.
and now it's
So
the
I
fourth
understand. I understand part of drawing is you're trying to simplify.
Right.
And at the end of the day, the more you simplify while being able to capture what you want makes you an artist or a master, rather. This is an oversimplification, my man.
Look at his shitty All Might.
Again.
What the fuck happened?
I don't have any art training. I don't know the right words to say why I hate that. I don't know that.
What's the name of the guy who did Ren and Stimpy?
John
Kricfaluski. Yeah, fucking... John K. That's how he will be referred to from here on because I don't care to.
I don't respect him or his name.
John R. We're not going to say what the R stands for.
Goodness. Fucking. He's doing that thing where he's like, you know what's fun? To lean so far into stylization that it doesn't even look like the thing anymore.
He tried to make it a caricature, but it's not quite a caricature. So once again,
that's
uncanny valley.
That's what it is. He stopped being a cartoonist and started being a caricaturist, and it is paying no dividends.
Yeah, he had such a charming style before.
And
that was
he's definitely gotten worse.
Look up Tough Puppy.
I know Tough Puppy.
Yeah.
I've seen
those.
Yeah, I've seen enough porn of Tough Puppy.
Of course you do.
Unwillingly.
All of the characters that have snouts and their faces are just on the side of their head because of it.
No, that's like people on CO love the cat. They love the cat.
Oh yeah, but the cat's like literally drawn to get fucked, bro. Like, look at her, man.
All right, yeah.
I just don't understand so many of his choices.
That cat girl is made for sex, bro.
100%. Look at her fucking childbearing hips.
Again, I've drawn another semen demon. God damn.
I mean, literally, like they call it Hartman hips for like on. I think it was on CO because. So for many years, I tried to be an art boy, and CO is where I went because at the time that was where you could actually get decent feedback because the actual art boards. By the way, this is me admitting to being on 4chan when I was far too young to be on 4chan. But the statute of limitations on there is non-existent, and I was like fucking. I was just a lad, so whatever. But yeah, like just Hartman hips was just the term everyone used, like that.
And it's funny because I know that practice of like giving moms and shit like white ass hips was something that was originated from Cartoon Network.
They weren't allowed to.
Yeah. They weren't allowed to give them fat boobs because that was too hot. Like specifically, SWAT cats got taken down because the secretary chick was too hot. They're like the cat girl's too hot.
I didn't know that.
Kids are getting boners. We're turning them into furries. People are mad about
the
being
CEO
furries.
guy is like or whatever guy was in charge of that decision. I remember we were reading about this. How he like had like all but an existential crisis about like you can't design things like that, and they're like, but she's supposed to be like sexually attractive. That's like part of her character, and he's like, just like Picard, no,
Smashing the cabinet. Yeah, fuck, bro. And but in his defense, he was trying to stop more of me being made, and it was futile.
Yeah.
Big Tony's on the right.
It was inevitable ever since they invented Bugs Bunny and drag.
Mm-hmm. It was a foregone conclusion. What? Okay, going back to like I made another semen demon. Who greenlit Lola Bunny? I should be able to do a class action lawsuit about like my at the stake of my immortal soul because of Lola fucking Bunny. Like.
Sometimes I hear people talk about like lawsuits and everything. I feel like what they mean, and this is one of those moments. What you mean is you wish you could challenge them to Mortal Kombat.
Yes, I do. I should be able to take vengeance for what you've done to my life.
You've changed the fabric of society. And
I went to
pay
like an animator who's now in his 60s.
Yeah,
you're just like. What? What's going on? Where am I? Ah! And you're running at him instantly.
I had like the Dovahkiin iron helm and a battle axe. No shirt, like, trial by combat, blades, no armor.
He just has whatever he got from the deli that day. He's just
and crippling arthritis from doing all those frames hand by hand.
Yeah.
Every day. Yeah, we can draw 10,000 frames a day every day. I did that for 40 years straight.
I did it for 40 years. They really respect me in the industry, and now I eat soup.
Now, of those frames, how many do you think were Lola Bunny's ass? Like, proportionally, percentage-wise?
I think there's proportionately very few, but, Godzilla was only in, like, 10 minutes of the first Godzilla movie.
Yeah.
But he made an impact.
Yeah, he did.
So, like... I'm sure that no one was just drawing the asses, you know?
Yeah. We didn't have an ass guy on call.
Yeah, I assume Space Jam was animated, cell animation like that.
Right.
I don't know that. I'd have to look that up.
Do you know where Space Jam came from?
Where?
It was because of a Nike commercial.
Really?
Yeah, it was a Nike commercial that had like I think it was Michael Jordan, but just talking to Bugs Bunny, and then like it was, I don't know if it was played during the Super Bowl or what, but like that commercial was so popular that they were like, we can make a movie out of this. What do you say, Mike?
Just like the SNL skits, like Leon
Yeah.
Phelps, like all those characters.
Oh yeah,
That makes
SNL,
sense.
there are tons of those movies.
That actually makes
Some of them are
perfect
even
sense.
good.
Yeah, Blues Brothers never
Yeah.
skit.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the entire, as far as I'm aware, the entire joke is that Dan Aykroyd doesn't dance like a human in the original skit. Like, I've seen the original skit, and it's like, maybe I haven't seen the entire skit, but it seems like the joke for the original skit is they're performing, like, you know, Soul Man or whatever.
Yeah.
And Dan Aykroyd is, like, doing, like, I don't know, inhuman wiggling.
Yeah.
And, like, that's the joke.
He dances
I
a
think.
little bit like Johnny Bravo.
Yeah. Or, like, he dances like he has, like he's a marionette being moved about, like, by someone else. It's really strange.
Like he was taught by somebody who tied his wrists and ankles,
Yeah.
and they were like, and then you do this move. These are the steps.
I can't even envision what you're talking about, so I'm gonna have to watch that. That sounds
And
fucking
they do some of it in the
foreign.
movie, like, or in the movie he does some of his, like weird
I was gonna
dancing he
say
does.
they do it in the
In the
movie.
church.
He seems to dance a little bit better because he mostly does this move. He's supposed to be snapping his fingers, but you can tell that no one's actually snapping their fingers because it's an old movie.
James Brown's church, and he, like, and they're
That was a physical move, not very good
Yeah,
for a
yeah.
podcast,
Yeah.
I suppose.
Once again, this is just a.
This is amateur hour night, but that's
I'm
fine.
sorry, I can't help myself. When they're at James Brown's church, he does like his little dance
Yeah,
down the aisle of the church, like, and that's the dance. It's weird that he uses that to move around. Because in, like, the skit that they made before they made the movie, that's just how he dances stationary. But if they turn into him walking,
And
it
now we're
looks
gonna
like it's walking.
call it some physical business so that you can get down the aisle so we can get this scene going. Good God, Dan, just fucking keep it going.
Yeah. I mean, Dan Aykroyd is like he is an alien and or possibly ghost. That's why he's so sure they exist.
I am one.
Yeah. Have you seen the this is another SNL movie MacGruber?
Yeah. I had never seen the Gruber, and the Kitchens, our friends the Kitchens kept saying, you gotta see this movie, Rob, you gotta see this movie, Rob, you gotta see this movie.
Yeah.
And they kept saying, they said what I'm sure you're going to say, I don't mean to step on your...
Go for it, no.
Is that the movie is absolutely nothing like the sketches in
Yeah.
any way.
Not at all.
The movie is like... It didn't seem like it had lines. Like it just seemed like it was bits.
Yeah.
And they do like a sequence where he's in trouble and he's talking about how he'll suck someone's dick if you let him go.
Based.
And he's getting really graphic with it, like Tropic Thunder.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Swallow the gravy.
But much more out of left field.
Yeah.
I like it.
So where I was going with that is that there's a part of that movie that no one believes me is from like another movie that people like. I guess don't respect, but like people certainly don't think that that's in that movie, which is Roadhouse.
Yeah.
So MacGruber, the entire movie says that he has a secret move, and he never wants to use it ever again. And then the end of the movie, the girl gets kidnapped, and he has to like fight his way onto like a fucking thing to go save her. And then he says he's gonna use the secret move, and he just runs up to a guy and rips out the guy's throat. That's the secret move. Just grab their jugular and tear out their windpipe.
Pretty good move.
And no one believes me that that's the plot of Roadhouse.
Yeah, it's the heart though, right? Or is it?
No,
it is his throat.
The all of Roadhouse is predicated upon this guy became the cooler.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't want to kill people by ripping out their tracheas anymore. But that's the move they taught him in like special forces or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the end of that movie is he's fighting like the fucking like biker kingpin or whatever that's like fucking everything up. And then he like is like, I have to use the move again, and he just—it's not like there's no like 5-finger touch thing where he like does like a secret chi technique. No, he reaches up, grabs the man's like windpipe, and then removes it.
Credits.
The move.
Yeah.
It's fucking move.
No one believes me because they're like, that's ridiculous.
Roadhouse.
Sure, Patrick Swayze is sort of like he's you know, it's an action movie where he's just kicking people all day, but surely yes, that is the climax of Roadhouse.
Awesome. I've never seen Roadhouse.
It's not very good.
I've only seen like bits of it, and like I'm usually watching it and then like giggling because of the idea of the cooler, and I'm like, okay, fuck you.
I know of Roadhouse. I know many of the elements of Roadhouse.
Yeah.
One of those things that's leaked through.
Things like Family Guy and everything, just you have a tertiary, you have to have a tertiary knowledge of them.
Like Elvis.
Yeah, exactly.
Elvis died, 15 years before I was born, and I'm not like a huge fan of his music. I don't fuck you, Elvis. I'm gonna hate Elvis, you know. But I know many of Elvis's songs. I know what he looked like across the different stages of his life.
Yeah.
I can tell you like a lot about his personal life and what he did. I think it was his manager's name. Like I know all this.
That.
Colonel Tom Parker. I know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I know all this dumb shit just because it kind of leaked through, and Family Guy and similar, just whatever.
Just media.
Yeah. Media. I took
media
as
diffusion.
a kid.
My grandmother loved Elvis, but one thing that I told her, and she was apoplectic. She did not want to hear it, and she wouldn't hear of it. Was that I told her, he was blonde, and he dyed his hair black. And she was like, "You shut your dirty mouth. You don't know what you're talking about." And I'm like, "Well, that happened. Also, he like really consistently slept with like his best friend." And she's like, "You're a liar right now."
Wait, Elvis pounded dude butts?
Yeah.
My man.
Let him do his thing, man.
He was Elvis.
Hell yeah.
Leave Elvis alone.
Elvis, I imagine that he's sort of like fucking Alexander the Great, where it's like, of course he has a boyfriend. That has nothing to do with him or his wife.
Exactly. That's how it's supposed to be.
He's just doing his thing.
Yeah.
All the good Elvis songs are from when he was like old and fat and lived in Las Vegas and or Hawaii. Mm-hmm. Like all the songs that made him famous. I don't like any of those songs. I only like his comeback songs. When you can hear him wheezing in between the
He's lived a life worth living by
Those are
then.
the good ones.
He's the true king at that
One
point.
of my favorite concepts in this world is the fact that like artist in residency used to be a thing in like the world where like
Still is.
well, in a different way.
Oh, yeah, go on.
But like it used to be like, oh yeah, we have an artist in residency like in like our city. What he does is he sits in the town square and he paints. And he just paints frescoes on buildings and stuff, whatever he decides, because he is the artist. And now we don't really have like that to that degree, but what we do have is Las Vegas, which is basically the same thing, which is where we just like house our retired Harlem Globetrotters and like other like aging stars, and it's like a retirement home for them. And it's just the city of sin and excess in the middle of the desert. It sounds like if you read that in a story, you wouldn't buy that.
That's like saying King Arthur went to Avalon to recover, and in our greatest time of need, he'll come across the sea and save England. Like that's what you're telling me right now.
Yeah, and that's Las Vegas. The king will return. He will walk out of the desert.
In our time of greatest need.
Yeah. That's
riding a motorcycle, Elvis returns.
It's like South Park. This is where we lived when the king still dwelt in Hawaii.
Have some choo-choos. Also, how great is it that Elvis, like, we have an impression of Elvis, which isn't how Elvis talked.
At all. It's such a
until he was fully, like, fat and, like, I have to pretend to be He had to pretend to be Elvis.
Yeah.
Until he was, like, making his comeback, he didn't talk like that. He just, like, sort of sang like that, where he's like, "You ain't nothing but a hound, no." And then, like...
He'd be talking to a guy.
And then you'd be like, "Wow, Elvis, that was a great show. How are you feeling tonight?" He'd be like, "Well, that was a pretty good show."
He was a regular human.
He was just regular, yeah. Just from Memphis.
And then, being the king has its consequences, man. Yeah.
And now there's, like, a... What's the place in Memphis called that's like his like mausoleum pyramid?
It's not Neverland. It's like, oh my god, like
Graceland.
Graceland. Because in fucking
Yeah, Zombieland
2, they go to Graceland and it's a whole bit.
Yeah,
it's pretty fucking funny.
Oh man.
Yeah, I enjoyed those movies. They're pretty good. All right, so I do want to take some time to discuss our D&D campaign some more. So we already talked about Frogward a little bit.
A key aspect of this is that we get very distracted.
Oh yeah, dude, scatterbrained as hell, man. So,
I just assume you're going to edit it into an order that makes it sound like we're not stupid.
Oh,
I will never do that.
that sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I will never, ever, ever edit this to sound less stupid. They know exactly how stupid I am.
If they wanted it to be less,
Shit.
if they want this to be less
do-over?
stupid,
I just said no do-overs, Rob.
listen. Maybe when this is like we're further along and maybe we're better at this, maybe we'll do another Rob episode and it'll be
Maybe someone else to edit it.
we'll be like, hey, we're gonna edit this one, so really let loose. But no.
Now, the big thing I do edit down is dead air. Like, if there's too much space of just us, like, glazed over because we're dumb, then
Right.
yeah, I'll get rid of that, you know, but...
Like if I do something foolish, like, hey, check out what I put in the group chat. Isn't that funny? And then we just sit there in silence until a couple seconds later you hear like,
Yeah, that's happened about 5 times now, so...
so that gets edited
okay,
out,
that makes
obviously.
Yeah. But yeah, so,
D&D
D&D campaign, viewers, as I explained last time, Prince Langley met a spectacular end at the hands of the Baylor.
Exploded.
And his background was that of a noble, variant noble, so he had 3 retainers that were based off of my Chrono Cross party, Yanis, Sergei, and Ina. And when Kevin's character, Morgani, the dwarf chef that was banished for misappropriation of resources,
Yeah.
he got his legs crushed in a trap.
Yeah, I'm the rogue, so I was
we
expected
weren't doing it right.
to deal with all the
weren't
traps,
doing it
and I didn't make my rogue right because I've been running our when Tony and I started playing D&D, I was like voluntold to be the DM, which was fine, but like I'd never properly learned how to play Dungeons and Dragons. I mostly just like
Traps
be
have
a
not
funny
featured
boy.
heavily in the games that we've played. They've existed, but
Yeah.
it hasn't been. Brody really leaned into traps
Oh, yeah.
because we spent like 4 sessions avoiding any of the objectives he laid out for us.
Yeah, just
He was kind
steal.
of making him randomly generate loot rooms.
Yup.
And so as we went
As-
through that,
as
they
divine punishment.
Yeah, they contained more and more traps just to turn the fuck around and stop screwing around. And so we didn't know well, there's like a way that you deal with traps. If you're the thief and you have your extra bonus actions or whatever you get, you can just you use one action to disarm the thing and you cunning action dodge so that you don't get crushed when you fuck it up. We didn't know about that.
No.
We read
Yeah.
about that on the internet after Kevin already lost his legs. So
Yeah.
Kevin lost his legs because not a single one of the 9 people that were playing knew how to do that.
Yeah, by the way, we're 9 deep at this point, and all of us were like, yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
My solution to finding traps was to conjure my packed weapon greatsword and like tap it in front of me like a blind man.
Yeah.
And be like, oh, this will work,
I
right?
just sat there complaining that we weren't playing second. I don't even know what I was complaining about. I'm not
Yeah.
sure. Like the complaining had no direction. It was just
Yeah.
5th edition is stupid. Okay, traps. And again, I'm not even playing it right. I'm
Yeah.
sitting there complaining about how old thing good, new thing bad.
Listen, that's nerd culture right there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, grognard, bro. Quality
And
grognard.
then we little quality grognard would actually fucking know how to do it in 5th edition.
Fair enough.
But we
Fair
know
enough.
now.
We do.
It only cost us legs.
Yeah.
It only cost him legs, so we have to go back because Morgani doesn't have any goddamn legs.
Yep.
And so
Third time we had to go back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking God. So, my retainers, I had tasked them in their downtime to learn skills and trades because they have the commoner stat line, so they can't really do anything. And the background specifically states they won't put themselves in harm's way. They won't go into dungeons with me. So I decided, okay, I'm going to give each of them something to learn during the days because I think it's like you need 90 days to learn a skill.
Yeah.
So I had Sergei learn.
Or like half that if you have like an excellent teacher or something.
Okay, yeah. But I had Sergei learn the crossbow so that he could protect our cart full of loot. I had Ina learn the loot so that she could become like a songstress or some shit and get some extra coin. And I was like, okay, Yanis, because Morgani had opened up a little food cart during our downtime activity, and I was like, yeah, go help him. Go become a chef.
Yeah.
So she was the sous chef for Morgani, and she was helping out. So we cart this motherfucker back. He ain't got no damn legs. So I'm like, okay, well, you're his sous chef. Now you're his, servant. Like, you just make sure he...
Now you're his nurse.
Yeah, you give him sponge baths and take care of him. And she was like, hey.
Listen to him complain about his no legs.
Yeah, pretty good shit. So Langley explodes. And I decide, okay, well, part of their background story is that in Brody's campaign, all of like the Beastmen races, all like the not furries, all come from this place called the Isles of Kodrum, which is basically ruled by a dragon who just terrorizes them at all times, and then all the other Beastmen tribes are constantly murdering each other.
Yeah.
So Langley's backstory for this campaign is he's from the Isles of Kodrum. They made a keep out of a Draco Witch, and they make a pact with the Draco Witch to basically have power to protect themselves.
Yeah, so the bunnies don't get eaten so much.
Yeah, because there's fucking lion and tiger men that are literally 9 feet tall, and we're 3 feet tall bunnies. So we have bows and black magic, and that's all that's keeping us from extinction. So Langley's job is to go bring shit back to also prevent them from extinction, and now he's dead, and no one can go do that, and his 3 bunny retainers are trapped in a foreign land and no one likes them.
Yeah.
So I decide, okay, well, I want to keep playing bunny people because I'm me.
Yeah.
So now all of the retainers are now my backup characters, starting with Yanis. And so, Gesundheit.
Thank you.
We get news that Langley's dead, and then basically, I think we had it that Morgani was going to do a guild contract thing because the Brotherhood.
So the thing is, my character's a chef, and if you're a chef in this setting, because I'm also the rogue, Brody decided to make, since I have the criminal background, he was like, oh, in that case, the big criminal element of this world is going to be the Brotherhood, the Brotherhood, but with broth, and it's all about
fun.
Yeah, it's a pun because it's like a mafia based around restaurants and cooking. Restaurants are already a hotbed for
crime,
little types of crime. I mean, there's no Waffle House in America that does not have a lethal amount of opiates actively coursing through the veins of every worker there.
Yeah, mandatory.
So they have they run scams. They run protection through the restaurants. They keep control of certain recipes and ingredients to keep everybody in line. But part of the training that Morgani put Giannis through is the end of that is okay, well, you did the training from me, a certified chef. You're now certified if you want.
I'm guild approved.
And because I let her do that, the Brotherhood, who was already blackmailing my character into doing a bunch of quests, now was just oh, cool. Sounds like we have a new person to blackmail into doing a bunch of quests. And Morgani didn't really think ahead that he would be signing her up for that because he was, depressed about the no-legs situation.
Yeah, so basically this servant commoner is just told, you're work for the mob now, bitch. And she's like, oh, what? So
she was pretty fine with it, I think.
Yeah, she was pretty fine with it. Gaines is pretty hardcore. She goes to the flow. So she's dwelling on this, musing on this, and then I cart your ass upstairs, and we go to the room so I can give you a sponge bath, and then Langley's patron, the dragon Wagner, comes in human form, and Valen tells her, do you want to be a warrior princess because your prince is dead? And then...
How would you like a promotion?
Yeah, well, how would you like a promotion? And, he was like, would you like to finish your master's quest? And then I was like, do I get to be a queen? And he was like, sure, kiddo. And then I remember you said some snarky shit,
I mean, it was... I was basically oh yeah, you can be fucking queen of the waitresses and shit because you're still my sous chef, you're my apprentice.
And then I was like, I am a sous chef no longer. Now I am Yanis, warrior princess. I was a sous chef for 2 days.
Yeah.
So I pick up a spear. I pick up because some of the loot we got. Ironically, all of the loot we got from beating the little dungeon, that the vault we went to.
Yeah.
We got a Javelin of Lightning, we got a Shield of the Sentinel, and we got something else. I had enough money left over of Langley's winnings to get a half plate.
Mm-hmm.
So I get full geared up fighter, Harengon fighter.
Half plate rules.
Yeah, half plate is unique to 5th Ed. I didn't know that.
Really?
So much thought into your character. Yeah, they didn't have half plate before. That's why I think it's so cool.
Yeah, I think half plate is specifically cool. If you can afford to get the feat to have medium armor expert, you get all the benefits of full plate with none of the detriments.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. It's also just cool conceptually.
I think heavy armor blows in 5th Ed.
Oh yeah, it's terrible.
Unless you're a dex dump guy, which
you shouldn't be.
Why are you that? I mean, maybe you're a paladin or something. You split.
Yeah.
You can be flat-footed if you're a paladin, but everyone else should have at least a little bit.
I mean, yeah, paladin would probably be mosly strength and charisma.
Yeah, right.
You're supposed to be a fucking heavy object if you're a paladin.
if you have two stats that you really want to crank and neither of them are decks, I could see you jumping decks. But
so speaking of like different editions rules, by the way, a key reason that I never really properly learned how to play Dungeons and Dragons is how we actually originally started.
You guys played 4th edition.
So we played 4th edition.
Disgusting.
Which was new. Was not new at the time. It was actually like really close to the end of its life cycle.
Keep laughing.
And I tried to learn that, and we played that for like a couple of months. And then one week, I come to go to DM, and I'm like, "Hey, where are the books?" And the players, specifically Nick, who actually made this decision,
and I was 100% on board.
Because in retrospect, it probably was a good idea, but that's not really relevant, because I went from 4th edition to 5th edition that week because they sold the 4th ed books to buy the 5th ed books. And now it was very much like, here's the new books. That's what we're playing tonight.
Kevin's experience in D&D is a long list of being voluntold to do stuff.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of consent involved in his playing.
Yeah, so that unfortunately led me to making a lot of decisions based solely off the fuck it, it's a fucking field goal method.
Yeah, it's a tried and true method. Tried and true method.
It was
for cast the ball.
It was pretty effective. We had fun. It maybe wasn't Dungeons and Dragons, but it was a lot of fun.
We were role playing.
Yeah.
Role playing. Doing our own thing. How you run your table's up to you as a DM.
Yeah.
That's how it goes. So yeah, Yanis, level 5 fighter, and the consent, or rather the concept that I wanted to go with is that the Humblewood setting had just dropped.
Oh yeah.
And that is picked up on 5e tools, so I consider it like in the zeitgeist of acceptable content.
That counts as official enough, yeah.
So, and anything that you can just port with Plutonium import into Foundry, I'm 100% down to use.
Real quick, Plutonium import Foundry, all of these things, wonderful tools. Virtual Tabletop King for Foundry.
Yeah, if you're using a virtual tabletop that isn't Foundry, I would suggest you at least look into Foundry.
Especially now that we had subscriptions to like 2 things at this point that just ended.
Yeah, so one of the things I want to do is be a professional DM, and the biggest hurdle of that is that I've lost hundreds and hundreds of hours of work because I went from Roll20 to Astral, and then Astral went down.
Yeah.
And I lost everything.
Yeah.
Astral stopped existing in a matter of weeks.
And then I went back to Roll20 to try to salvage, I tried to salvage the setting I was building. But then I was like, Roll20 is so flawed, and I just don't like it. Why am I going to spend hundreds of hours of putting shit into this that I'm just not going to use?
Yeah.
So I just literally stopped DMing. I lost all will and drive to DM. The campaign that, I've had multiple people tell me it's their favorite campaign and favorite characters. I'm very flattered by that. But, it's not going to happen anymore because I just can't bring it into me. But then, Brody got Foundry. I'm in love with Foundry. I bought Foundry, and I'm slowly porting my setting back into Foundry. And I hopefully one day you'll be able to access Kael'dun and the Foundry Zeitgeist thing. I hope to have all the assets for your playing pleasure and to have a nice little setting for you and your friends. That being said, we'll just segue from that.
Before we get off of this, man, 4th edition,
Yeah.
Once per encounter power, that's cool.
I thought that made sense. Yeah.
I do like that. I
don't.
dig that. Short rest, long rest is fine, but it's not perfect. And once per encounter, a lot of things need to be once per encounter. I'm fully about cooldowns.
You know what I really liked about 4th Ed that I wish was still a thing? It was the action economy being...
Thumbs?
Yeah. The action economy being that you had 3 actions, 1 major action, 1 minor action, and 1 movement action. And, you could trade down. So your major action could be traded down into a movement action or a minor action, and your movement action could be traded down to another minor action, so you could do, 2 of these things per turn. I really liked that. I don't like that you just have your action, bonus action, reaction. It feels like a worse way of handling it. But then again, I don't know how to play Dungeons and Dragons, so...
It's a lot simpler than it used to be.
Yeah.
Even, being able to, okay, you use 15 of your movement and attack, and then you use 15 of your movement to back out.
That used to be a whole thing. Right?
That was a feat tree that required... That used to be a thing where, you'd have, this feat requires you to have 5 previous feats. And that was, I think spring attack and all those was, a 3 feat minimum.
Oh, my God.
To be able to do that.
No, I do enjoy progressive feats. Like one of the coolest things about Planescape is they brought that back. So you can basically pick like Scion of whatever plane, and then you pick like what alignment that is, and then you get a thing from that. And then based on whatever you pick the next feat that correlates to that and gives you more powers. Which Yanis is that. So part of the the backstory is from this like evil dragon keep. So I picked Scion of the Outer Planes evil. So she is from an evil plane.
I'll be right back.
Okay, yeah. So part of Yanis is she has the what fucking cantrip? It's no, oh my god. Chilling Touch?
Oh yeah, they have that for dragons too, don't they? They have like the
there's been so many,
They have the gift of the whatever dragon, and that stacks, and there's 2 like levels of that.
Yeah. I do like those additive feats like that. That's an interesting way to favor your character. I would like to see more of that. But I think 5th Ed struggles only if you're a fighter.
Yeah.
And that's one reason I chose to do it is because Yanis is a fighter, so I can actually like benefit from it.
That's another change Brody made for the campaign we're playing right now.
Oh yeah, we're getting more feats.
Everyone gets the fighter's feat progression.
Because all fighters get the Battlemaster maneuvers. Like so, every fighter is just the Battlemaster. That subclass has been removed and folded into every subclass.
Like, I really enjoy it because it's like there's no limiters here. He's just going nuts. Like I think it'd be cool. Like he's not thinking about like, oh, will this affect the game balance? He's in charge of the game balance. Like if he thinks something is too wild, he'll just change it. Like so he just kind of like every class for the most part. He just like, what if it was cool? Like what if he just went nuts with all of them? I really like it a lot.
I like it a lot, and then I'm adopting most of his changes as we play test them, and I will be having an addendum in my Kilden spat book that will incorporate a lot of these changes, because my philosophy as a DM, I love powering up my players and giving them shit they really shouldn't have, because then I can throw monsters at them they should not be fighting. Oh, you have the tools to do it, so suck it up, motherfucker. Oh, you can't fight him, then run away. Or you can use that +3 sword that you should not have and cut him down, you coward.
When we were consistently pulling like 8-9 players, the encounters you would have to design for 8 or 9 players, it's like, you get attacked by like 30 drow.
The drow ambush had me clench my butt so hard.
And he drow.
And then he was like, And he's fucking like sitting there musing, doing that DM thing where he's like, absent-mindedly talking, but like it's actually to intimidate us. No, he was like, should I just have them both do cloud kill? And I'm like, fuck you! Fuck you!
Yeah. This is a CR 0.5 creature that attacks 3 times with a poison bow.
Like, what? And it's like that good drow poison. I think that it ain't your mom's poison.
It's that save or lose poison.
Yeah, save or fucking...
Save or you're out of the encounter now. And there's like... I with shield, I think my armor class was like 23, and I'm still taking hits off these loser droughts. I'm fucking dodging 9 attacks in a round.
Yeah, you're bound to fail one, man. You're bound to fail one. Action economy is a huge fucking thing. Like if anything I learned from DMing a campaign with only 3 players, literally the difference between 3 and 4 is like night and fucking day. Action economy is so important in 5th Ed. And that's why legendary actions and lair actions are such an important thing to encounters. When I was DMing my first campaign, I did not really put credence on lair actions and the legendary actions. I didn't give enough of my custom design NPCs those, and now I know those are fucking essential to make an encounter not trivial. But yeah, going back to Yanis, what was I going to talk about here? I'm drawing blanks. But yeah, very interesting.
4th edition, your character, Brody's campaign, changes we made.
Playing... Scofflaw. So Yanis is the new class from Humblewood, which is Scofflaw. So, their big thing is that they're supposed to be, bar fighters. They're just dirty fighter. They're basically, the same way that the Arcane Trickster is, rogue mixed with wizard. The Scofflaw is fighter mixed with rogue. And I love that. I love the idea of a dirty fighter, of someone who, is just street smart, they're just a little scrapper, they fucking hit you with whatever they can, they'll kick you in the nuts, they don't care. So that's what Yanis is, fitting in with the whole Brotherhood and being, trained by Morgani. I thought it would be fitting, that she's just a little scrappy little fighter. And the, the class feature they get is, 1, they can learn Thieves' Cant, so, that's pretty fun. And then 2... they have proficiency with improvised weapons. It can also treat improvised weapons as finesse weapons. And I thought that was really fucking cool. And then they also have a thing where, as a bonus action, when you smack someone with an improvised weapon, you can just break that shit over their idiot head and do max damage.
Yeah.
And then at level 10, it increases by like 10, so you can really fuck somebody up. Now, one of the only things, I love Brody as a DM. I don't really have any criticisms, but specifically in the the Dungeon Master's Guide, they explain improvised weapons equal whatever weapon that thing would be.
Right, like if you're using like a chair as a club, it counts as a club.
Well, a chair would be a mace.
Right.
Because a club is 1d4. A whole ass chair is not doing 1d4.
I didn't realize
Yeah.
club was its own weapon. I was using it as a catch-all for a
No,
bludgeon.
that's my gripe.
Yeah.
Is that you need to know the size of each of the things I'm using because there is a weapon that corresponds to the size and shape that has a specific dice for that.
Yeah.
Improvised weapons are supposed to follow that. He's only giving me 1d4s. Which, like I said, I'm not going to bitch.
We've mostly been doing branches and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's it too. Is like I'm picking up shit off the floor mostly, like rocks.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is like if I picked up like a pool cue, that would probably be. I mean, you could if I broke it, I could use it as a short sword. You know, like 'cause
Right.
you're doing piercing
Quick
damage.
stab, yeah.
I'm running a motherfucker through. So it would be 1d6, not 1d4. Like I said, not a big deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the Genesis thing, and I picked the fighting style for throwing weapon specialization.
Yeah.
Because I have never really done that. I've seen I've seen in older editions, there's a lot of like meme wizard fighter builds that involve like throwing shit and using magic to bring it back to you. There was like one of the NPCs from Baldur's Gate, they made the 5th ed supplement for it, and he was like a wizard who like throws axes, he uses animate objects to like throw more axes.
That's cool.
I thought that was super fucking cool. That's what I think I do it for freely.
Right.
So, another fucking aside, sorry chat, one of my favorite characters for 5th that I played was a goblin blade singer named Fruli, who was like based on like mantis-style martial arts. They had a scimitar, and as you know, the thing about blade singer is they can basically do a barbarian rage, but it's like they go into a flow state, and they get a whole bunch of AC and yada yada yada, and they can use like cantrips as a bonus action. So, but the cool, my cool like ultimate technique thing, because we were level like 8, I think, so I just got 5th level magic.
Yeah.
Is I the whole time my character had a fan of swords on his back, so it looks like he had like 6 basically bars coming off the back his back, and it was specifically 12 scimitars. I'm sorry, no, it was 5 because he had 10 scimitars, and so my ultimate Manta style ultimate technique was using animate object on my 10 silver scimitars, and my Bonkai was fighting with 11 swords. I thought it was really cool. It was devastating. It was like way stronger than I thought it was going to be. Whatever boss we were fighting, I blended him down like he was fucking nothing.
Oh yeah.
So very cool play style.
That was I remember the boss we were fighting because we were fighting the underwater boss. And we were told specifically if you get a critical fail, you will miss, and if you miss and you're like using a ranged attack, it might go hit the wall that's like holding the water back, and it's like a thin membrane. You'll
drown.
You'll drown. And then I was playing a spell sniper warlock, basically, where I was just like, stay as far away as possible and hit him with Eldritch Blast. And that was 2 crit fails from me.
Yeah, you're trying to drown us, man.
Yeah.
Fucking bastard.
Just poking holes in the side as this
Didn't
damn
take
thing.
you on seriously. Didn't take him seriously. But yeah, no, so going back to Yanis, I'm doing a Throne Fighter. I've never seen that. We've never seen anyone actually play that before.
Right.
And so between Scofflaw, my idea was like, originally, I thought it would be funny to be playing like this timid, like sous chef that throws the kitchen sink. Like that was supposed to be the meme. I have a bag of holding with like my utensils in it, and I'm just screaming and crying and throwing just whatever's in the kitchen sink.
Oh shit, that reminds me. I kept stealing like kitchen utensils like in that fucking dungeon that we were in, specifically so Giannis could like be throwing.
Oh, thanks, babe.
Yeah, I thought that would be funny.
But yes, but that ended up
all
not
the
happening
ladles and knives and things
because of how Brody had the role play of Wagner coming up to her and being like, "Do you want to be the queen?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm totally gonna be the queen. I'm not a sous chef. Ha! I'm better than that. Literally inbred peasant bunny.
Intellect 8.
Intellect 8! Intellect 8! The stupidest bitch alive! Goes up to the other 2 commoners. I'm the queen now, and you'll do what I say!
blinking one eye at a
I know
time.
that we have a magical source of infinite food, but I think I'm gonna go forage for food. In the haunted murder wood.
Yeah. I need meat!
Where the trees bleed.
So yeah, so for clarification, we've recently entered what Brody considers like the meat of the campaign, which is going into the Chernobyl woods of evil magic.
The horrible post-magic apocalypse lands.
We have, because of like 2 or 3 different people, we have infinite food and water. We don't need to be carrying supplies or foraging for food.
And
that part of the game is
and
gone for us.
Like
we even have a ranger when he shows up. No, that sounded meaner than I wanted it to. I love Mario.
When he's able to.
When he's able to. When he's not. Extraordinary circumstances have kept him from being here.
Yeah.
So like our travel through the wilderness is actually really good.
Yeah.
Like we're
real good.
Yeah.
And Brody is using a hex crawling system where basically every hex your player can do. It's like an hour-long thing, and you can do like one of several tasks, and one of those tasks is foraging. And Yanis has 8 intellect and isn't really good at anything else besides throwing things and screaming. And so I decided, you know what, I'll have her go forage. And
you'll never guess what check she has to make to forage.
What was it? I don't even remember, bro.
It's an int check.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. 8 int, -1.
Yeah.
Not my strong suit. So yeah, I'm like, well, I guess you can go forage, right? And then everyone is like, Yanis, we don't need food.
Yeah.
Yanis, there's demons in the woods, and my response to that was, I want meat, and I just charged.
Keep in mind, she went to forage, not hunt.
Yeah, that's pretty bad, huh?
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that, bro. When you play the fool long enough, you've become one. So basically,
happen to you.
He makes a test, instantly encounter 3 hags and 3 owlbears.
Oh, yeah.
It's looking pretty bleak for old Yanis here, but Harangon has
Fast
a really
as
fun
fuck.
racial called Rabbit Hop. You can Rabbit Hop up to your proficiency bonus per long rest, and as a bonus action, you can jump equal to 5 times your proficiency bonus without provoking an attack of opportunity. That's the kicker right there.
Yeah.
Because those goddamn owlbears were barreling after my little bunny ass, and I barely outran them.
Yep.
I barely
Only
outran
like
them.
CR2 or 3 though. I didn't know that. Owlbear's like a little boy.
Oh, he's a little...
So I've been doing this thing because I in my heart I have the heart of a cheater.
You're a swindler! Swindler!
I have a desperate desire to just like
scoundrel!
I want the spoilers. I want all of it. I want it. I'll do it.
The heart of a cheater.
Yeah. But we have willpower. We're human beings. So whenever Brody throws something at us, I don't just Google it. Because,
Good
you
man.
that's cheating, and it would ruin the thing.
I Google it after, and...
always Google it after.
Yeah, I wait
because because in my heart I'm like, well, I still want to know.
And then
your character did the fight, and now he knows about that encounter.
Yeah,
which is in real life matched by you looking it up.
Yeah.
After the encounter's
My
over.
thing, too, is I will try to go out of my way, if I've done research on the creature because of my own DMing,
Right.
I will try to play it from an angle that my character would know. I do try to adopt the ignorance of my character whenever possible.
That's good. That's the right way to play it.
And I specifically do try to play every character I have based on their actual intellect. Like, Langley had 12 intellect. He was able to actually make plans.
Yeah.
He, was supposed to be a prince and, lead people and stuff. He ain't the smartest tool in the shed, but he understands tactics.
I mean, I'm so... I have a desperate need at times to be like, I'm the cleverest boy in all of Little London. I'm just a sweet, special lad. I'll outsmart the dungeon master. It's ruined campaigns before, actually.
Oh, so many, in fact.
But it doesn't matter. But because of that, I've hobbled myself multiple times where I'm like, well, I have to give my character at least 10 to 12 int so that believably my character can have this thing.
Yeah, you can't min-max if you want to roleplay, man.
But
that's just how it goes.
Back to what I was saying about the heart of a cheater thing is so many times I've looked up what Brody was going to throw at us, and then immediately been like, oh, we could have just killed that. Yeah. Why were I making a deal with these hags? We could have just killed them with rocks.
All right, and with that, we're going to be ending this episode. Thank you for listening to Scryer's Room.
Thank you for having me. I had a lot of fun.
We will be... So, to our lovely listeners, you'll be able to hear this again next week. We actually got our first sponsor this week.
Oh,
it
yeah.
is the energy drink Dubby.
Dubby!
Yay, Dubby!
Dubby for gamers!
They're a Cali-based company. They're sugar-free. They don't use artificial dyes and coloring. And more importantly, they're anti-big oil. So yeah, go get them, boys. Fight the fucking good fight.
Sugar-free, right?
Sugar-free. So it's good for diabetics like me.
Yeah.
And thank you for listening, and tune in next week.